The Second World War started 1939 and ended after 6 years in 1945. In this video series I will explain its whole history in form of Lego builds. Welcome to World War II in a Lego nutshell. Like and subscribe if you don't want to miss the next parts of this series. After losing the First World War, Germany got repressed, especially by France and Great Britain. The German economy was in ruins and the army was only allowed to consist out of 100,000 men. They weren't allowed to have any Luftwaffe, which is the German word for air force. The reason for the military repressions were to prevent another war started by the German army. But as you all know, these restrictions led to the exact opposite scenario. My build depicts the final days of World War I, where 2 German soldiers got caught by the French. In 1933, an Austrian became the new chancellor of Germany. He fought during World War I and was totally dissatisfied with the results and the current state of Germany. His name was Adolf Hitler and he was meant to bring horrible wrath to the whole world. In the same time, Italy elected the fascist head of state as well. His name was Benito Mussolini. In 1937, the Second Sino-Japanese War started. This war, which is also known as Operation C, was started by the Japanese army and the main target was to control China. The Japanese had big successes during the beginning of the operation, but the battle took place until 1945, which was the later end of World War II. In parallel, the Japanese attacked Russia and controlled Korea after several battles. My build depicts a Japanese Type 97 tank supported by infantry. They are on their way to raid the important position by the Chinese army. Japanese officers of World War II are well known for carrying their samurai swords during the battles. From 1933 until 1939, Adolf Hitler rebuilt the Luftwaffe and the German army, which is also known as Wehrmacht, raised to 4.5 million soldiers. The British only had about 500,000 soldiers during that time. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria as well as Czechoslovakia. As both of these states didn't have armies which were nearly as big as the German was, the annexion was pretty easy. My build depicts a small street where a Panzer I is driving and is supported by infantrymen. After the annexion, the horrible deportation of Jewish people already started in Czechoslovakia. This was the indication of how crucial this war will be. On the 22nd of May 1939, Hitler and Mussolini made the Pact of Steel, which made Germany and Italy confederates. On the 1st September in 1939, World War II has started. Nearly 2 million soldiers supported by the Slovakian Republic invaded Poland. Nearly 700,000 of the 1 million soldiers of Poland were captured. The Polish fought bravely, but they didn't have any chance against a superior modern German army. On the 6th of October, Poland was controlled by Germany and the Soviet Union. If you wonder why the Soviet Union, yes, they attacked Poland at the same time that Germany did. Germany and the Soviet Union signed a pact that they split Poland and won't attack each other. As Poland is in between Germany and the Soviet Union, this was a huge problem for this country and they got invaded by big powers at the same time. My build depicts 2 Soviet soldiers capturing a Polish soldier right after the invasion. They are wearing the early war uniform and are armed with a Mosin Nagant, which was the basic rifle of the Soviet army during World War II. After explaining the role of the Soviet Union during the invasion of Poland, let's focus on the German side again. I've added a shooting effect to my Panzer 38T, which by the way was a Czechoslovakian tank which the German captured and used during the invasion of Poland and ongoing battles. The German infantry is wearing the M36 uniform, which was developed in 1936. They are armed with the standard rifle of the German army, the K98, as well as an MG34, which was developed in 1934. My build depicts 2 Panzer 38Ts as well as infantry raiding Polish positions. After realizing that they don't have any chance against the German army, the 2 Polish soldiers decided to give up, as well as 700,000 more of them. On the 30th November in 1939, the Soviet Union attacked Finland. It ended 3.5 months later with the Moscow Peace Treaty on 30th March 1940. The Finnish army was able to encounter the Soviet attack even though they had a much bigger army. The big advantage of the Finnish was that they knew the territory where the battles were. They made thousands of fortifications and trench systems to protect their land. That's why I've decided to build a small trench system to recreate this war. I've recreated 3 Finnish soldiers wearing coats, scarves, winter hats as well as gloves. I've made these gloves by exchanging the light flesh hands for dark bluish grey ones. The official reason for the Soviet attack was to protect Leningrad, which was only 30 kilometers away from the Finnish border. But the obvious reason for the invasion was to exchange the Finnish government for a communistic government. As the name of this war is Winter War, this suggests you that this battle was fought during the winter, and of course I had to recreate the snow. I've implemented red colors into there by using cheese slopes as well as regular tiles to simulate blood effects of a dead soldier. I've removed both arms of the minifigure to achieve a realistic positioning. I've also gave the minifigure a red scarf which is supposed to be blood as well as a dead looking face. The Soviet soldier couldn't see the trench and was shot by one of the Finnish soldiers in the trench. This is a perfect example how the Finnish used their knowledge about the landscape to win the Winter War. I've then finished the rest of the build by adding a crater as well as the rest of the snow. I'm sorry for the bad joke, I just had to make it. To finalize the build I've added some foliage pieces in white. These also helped me to place the arms at the perfect angle. One soldier is smoking a cigarette, the other one is just coming out of the trench system. They've made caves to be protected from the snow and the cold temperatures. On 9th April 1940, Operation Weserübung started. Germany attacked Denmark as well as Norway, and the outcome was clear before the invasion even started. Since the Danish and Norwegian army didn't have any chance against the German superior army, especially against the superior Luftwaffe, they had to surrender and the battle ends after a few months. On the 10th of June 1940, both Denmark as well as Norway were under German control. In my scene you can see 4 German soldiers capturing Norwegians. Especially in the beginning of the war, the German soldiers had the Reichsadler at the left of their Stahlhelm. Because of the white color tabs you can see that this is an NCO who commands his squad. On the 10th of May 1940 the German Westfeldzug started. 3.6 million German soldiers attacked France, the Netherlands, Luxembourg as well as Belgium in 141 divisions. While invading Poland, Denmark as well as Norway, the Germans developed a tactic which is called Blitzkrieg. Due to 2,400 tanks as well as 5,600 airplanes, the Germans were able to move really quick through the enemy land. The Germans controlled France, the Netherlands, Luxembourg as well as Belgium after about 1.5 months. What wasn't possible in 4 years of World War I was possible in only 1 month in 1940. The French did have fortification systems and so on, but they defended the wrong sides of their country. They expected the breakthrough at the Maginot Line, but the Germans actually broke through the Ardennes. My Lego scene depicts the Battle of Dunkirk. Dunkirk is a French port city where a lot of British forces escaped to while the Westfeldzug. The battle took place from the end of May until 4th of June. This was only 2 weeks after the start of the Westfeldzug, which again shows how effective the German attack was. But Hitler decided to stop the attack right before Dunkirk. Because the German army didn't attack the city in their full strength, the French were able to defend their city. About 16,000 Allied soldiers died during that battle, but thanks to them, more than 300,000 Allied soldiers could be rescued by the sea to Britain. My build is supposed to depict a battle between German as well as French troops. It's a small cathedral in the city center. I've used this Lego chain which works as handrail. I've then added sandbags as well as the Vickers MG, which also was used during World War I, but because the French didn't have a modern army they had to use weapons from older periods of the war. I've took this French soldier, removed the legs and placed them in the other direction. I've then removed his arms and this allowed me to place him at a special way behind his Vickers MG. The scene perfectly shows the desperate defending of the French during the Battle of Dunkirk. The MG gunner as well as the officer are the only survivors of their squad. As this is a port city, I've decided to add some barrels here and there. I've then grabbed my old dark grey German soldiers. As they already fought in Poland, Denmark and Norway, their uniforms are weathered and got darker. The squad consists out of 1 MP40 gunner as well as 3 riflemen armed again with the K98. One of the German soldiers already got hit by the MG and the 4th one is trying to revenge him. I've then just had to place the K98 of this wounded soldier. As I already mentioned, the Germans used about 2,400 tanks, so of course I had to include one. The tank is called Panzer II or Panzer II. In the beginning of the war it was effective against infantry. After building the city of Dunkirk, of course I had to build a small section of the beach as well. 100,000 of British soldiers waited at the beaches of Dunkirk to be rescued, and only the Luftwaffe attacked a few of them. As the Germans realized that the British sent ships to rescue their soldiers, the Germans decided to attack the ships, but this was too late. Some big ships got sunk, but a lot of the Allied soldiers got rescued. Thanks to a lot of civilians who came with their small boats, Great Britain could prohibit a disaster. Don't forget to subscribe to don't miss part 2 of this series, which already comes next week.